Welcome to Broadcast. Thank you for joining us, Natalie.
Woo! Thanks for having me out, you guys. I'm super excited to talk to y'all.
Kim and I were just doing our ninja climbing and stuff. That's why we're a little glowy.
Yeah, that's just the climbing is walking up and down my stairs halfway because then I'm winded.
We're a little winded.
Yeah.
I mean, per definition, it's ascending, so you're doing it.
Oh.
We're going
Guys,
tryouts, woman.
Pro rock climbers right here.
Team Ninja right here. Team Ninja Warrior. So you haven't even. So you grew up in LA.
I grew up in like Southern California. I kind of grew up in like the suburbs and like the outskirts. And then like any suburban person, I'm like, gotta get out of here as soon as possible. So
yeah, right.
Once I graduated college, which is kind of still within the area where I was born and raised, I was like dipping out to Los Angeles, and I love this town.
That's awesome. And so, but you've been living in Vegas lately.
Yeah. So I've been living in Vegas for like the past like couple weeks. And yeah, it's just been, as you think it is, just chaotic hell. Literally it feels like hell. It's been like average 113 degrees.
Oh.
So, we've been taping the national finals for American Ninja Warrior. And it's brutal. So it's like, but luckily, we taped the show throughout the night. So it's from...
It's cooler.
Yeah, cooler. Yeah. It's from 8 p.m. to like 8 a.m.
Right.
And it's funny because like when we take lunch at midnight, it's still like 98 degrees. So,
so how do you adjust your time clock to be to be up all night?
She's 25.
No, but does that impact your endurance? I mean, your body's, how do you adjust for that?
At least for what I do is that, because it's like any city that we tape in the middle of the night. So what I like to do, it's actually the table that this computer is on. I like to just drape a bunch of blankets over it and then force myself to kind of sleep during the day. And then at night, when it's around like 10 or 11 o'clock p.m., I try to go to the gym, which I have to break into because it closes at 10 p.m.
Right.
So I have to like card the key and wait for security to go home. And I'm like, and cardio until like 2 a.m. So I try to work out during the night to kind of get used to the whole thing.
Wow. So, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist, but I just realized though that you've been in Vegas for the finals. So you make the finals.
I mean, it's not like I can't say anything, but like, a bunch of it's kind of like this ninja community, like people even travel to different like cities to like support their friends.
That's true.
So like, even if we say like we're in Vegas, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're national finalists.
Right.
I guess you had to wait to find out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, we are addicted to the show. We watch separately with our kids and, I love everything. You bring such a burst of energy. I mean, as if you need more energy in that show. You just like have that flair that I think is really fun. And it's really good television.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
So I know that you're a rock climbing enthusiast.
Yeah.
I mean, is that how you started this whole journey down to American Ninja Warrior?
Yeah, actually, I'm a sponsored climber. So it's like I started climbing maybe like 8 years ago, I think. When I became a freshman in college, and then I kept asking everyone for advice because I was pretty scared about, getting into college, doing this thing like by myself. And I was like asking a lot of people for advice. And majority of people say they're like, freshman 15, bro. I'm like, what is that? Apparently, entering freshman college, gain an average 15 pounds. And I'm like, nope, not doing that. No, thank you. And I despise cardio. Running makes me cry, and I don't like the gym. So I like try to find something, which is why I keep telling anyone, is even incoming freshmen, I was like, find something that excites you and that you're passionate about. And climbing was that first thing. Like day one, when I went into the gym, I was like, my hands were bleeding because I got like these things called flappers, and my forearms the next day were sore. And I couldn't eat hot food or brush my teeth because these open or brush my teeth. And I was like, love it. So since that day, I just haven't started. And then I got pretty well, competed in a lot of competitions, and became like a sponsored athlete still to this day.
Wow. Were you known as, athletic before you started climbing like that?
Nah. So that's the cool thing too, is that, I always tell people, it's like, don't stop until you find something that you're passionate about. Like, I've always kind of like maintained like a slim physique, thank God, fast metabolism, hoping that train kind of continues for me. But like throughout like high school and stuff like that, I've actually, I wasn't like the star athlete actually. I played tennis and I did it like mediocre. It was just something to do after school. But really it's like, because I just didn't feel passionate about what I was trying out in high school. But until I found climbing, and then also now ninja, just two things I'm like extremely passionate about. And now it's not like, how do you train 6 days a week? And on Wednesdays I go to 3 different gyms in a Wednesday. It's nuts. But it's like, it's kind of like just like my lifestyle now. I don't think of it as like something I have to do. It's like literally a part of my life that I just do every day.
I think that's great advice for anybody at, any age, because I think so many people go into the gym and hit the treadmill or the steps, the stairs, and they're doing their thing. And you just have to find something that you enjoy, and it's not even like working out.
But I also think it's a mindset. Like I don't have that mindset to do 3 gyms, go in the middle of the night, to wake up and go to the gym. I literally, if I'm downstairs and there's something I need upstairs, I text my kid to bring it down for me. I just don't have, it's the truth. I don't have that motivation. So I think there is a mindset that you have to live the life that you're having.
No, totally.
Especially now with American Warrior.
She's got that metabolism you're talking about, that great metabolism.
But I don't exercise. But I don't have that. I don't have that desire, that drive. Like the last thing I want to do is go exercise.
But I like what Natalie's saying is that she doesn't look at it as exercise. So there's probably something out there that you would love to do other than lying on the couch. That is a good workout.
It's like once your Netflix binge is done, you got to find something else to fulfill your time, right?
Yeah.
And I think that I took a break, but I do martial arts, and so I love Taekwondo, and doing that, and the camaraderie, and being around the other women, and so I think you're right. Like I get a great workout, but it's not necessarily I'm going to the gym. Because I don't do well with the gym. So
yeah, but I guess I was saying specifically to American Ninja Warrior though, and like the competitions that you do, you have to have a certain mindset.
Totally.
So do you have to psych yourself out before you do those competitions? Do you have like a routine that you do mentally to get yourself prepared?
It's hard. It's like whenever I describe how people like handle like the moments before you get on stage, for me, I'm a very like environmental person. Like everyone's else psych is kind of like affecting me. But then when it comes down to it, like I can control my own like emotions, but it's nuts. Like I think I perform better when I take it not seriously. Like before I get on stage, I actually watch a bunch of like cat videos and like funny videos to kind of like make myself laugh, because it's like making myself laugh and making the situation casual is actually what makes me perform a lot better, because it's I've done the thing with American Ninja Warrior is that we train all the time. We train, and we have to train ourselves with this like all encompassing, because we don't know what they're literally going to throw at us. Right. So we have to train for everything. And honestly, it's like each obstacle I think is very doable for a lot of like ninjas who train on a normal basis, but it's like putting it all together is like the really hard thing. And if you start thinking like and you like to hype yourself up because it's a very important moment. It's like, this is your one moment. The cameras are on you and you're the only one on there, and you've been training your whole year for this one moment. It's very good to like acknowledge that, because, it's all coming down to this one moment. But for me, it's like, if I think about that, I'm gonna start freaking out. So I have to like kind of psych myself out of like the too serious kind of thoughts, because really, as I've seen with a lot of other competitors, if I see someone like on the stage on the start line that's like getting way too in their head, or it looks like, there's a certain difference between determination and anxiety, and you could tell. So like when I see that, I'm like, oh no, don't get scared. Have fun. I'm like, have fun with it. And then like, okay. And I'm like, breathe, which is the most underestimated like piece of advice for any athlete. It's just breathing. So,
my son plays basketball, and I've noticed that when his teammates and himself included, when he's so super focused, he drops the ball, he travels, his shots are all off. But when he just hangs back and he like puts a smile on his face, shots hit, blows past everybody, like it's crazy how your mindset can actually.
Well, because you've been doing this. It's not like you're going to do something you've never done. But I'm not necessarily, but like with Sam, if he's playing basketball, he's been playing basketball. He's a great basketball player.
But if you're competing, if there's a championship game, if there's the shot clocks going, like what you said, Natalie, was that you just have fun. I think we forget that even as being competitors, you can still enjoy it. Yeah. And if you're totally focused in that moment and all you're thinking about is the win, I think it does something to your body that doesn't let you relax or settle in or I don't know. I mean,
I think it's being too methodical.
Yeah.
But when you're being too methodical, you're actually only focusing on sometimes one body part. And like things like ninja or any other sports, it's like a fluid moment kind of thing. So it's like when you're so hyper focused, like you're like, oh, I'm on a cliffhang. I've got to focus on my arms and like make sure they're not too tired. But really it's like you're on the cliffhang, but you also need to engage your core. You need to sometimes kip up your knees. And like, if you're thinking about your arms too much, you're forgetting about the rest of your body, which came over.
And I see that on some of the, not events, but some of the obstacles that somebody won't pay attention to their legs. And if your legs are straight down, you're just going to pull yourself down. I mean, of course, watching from my couch, I'm an expert.
Yeah.
She's critiquing you as your Natalie, your left leg is a little
no, but I see it. That's like, but somebody's so focused on those hands that they're like, oh, don't let your weight go down there. But do you ever see an obstacle and think like, oh no, it's one of these?
All the time. Oh, like, sure. All the time.
What's your kryptonite?
It's like, so rock climbing is my background. So it's like balance obstacles, like without a doubt, no matter what kind of balance obstacle is, I'm going to think it's terrifying. And like, they look as sketchy as they do on television. And it's different when you're staring it like down the barrel.
Right.
Like what I got are these like in my city were these blocks. And different sizes, they rotate 360.
Yep.
And they're like messed up because they position them like slightly like angled, like to the point where the tip is like up. You're like, and I'm supposed to walk over this?
Right.
But those are the surprising obstacles because I've never fallen actually on a balance obstacle, but I just remember every time I get there, I'm like trying to charge. I'm like, and pause for a second. And I'm like, okay, what am I doing again? But that's like another one and number one advice too is like charging the course with pure confidence and like with complete control. Because when I do the obstacle and I'm like, oh, it wasn't actually that bad. And I'm like, I'm freaking out for nothing. So those are always the fun ones.
Do you think that there's, I every time I watch, it's like, first woman and the shortest woman or whatever it is, there's always this separation of sexes. Do you feel like you're kind of over that? Or do you feel like you want to be seen as equal? Or do you want it to be separated that I was one of the first women to complete, that obstacle course or whatever? I mean, what do you think about all that hype?
Yeah, it's always like a mixed feeling with a kind of hype with like the gender focusing on like the show that's right now. It's like I think in two ways I feel of it differently. Like in the sense for like the national perspective, I love it because I went to this thing called NBC Fan Fest and we got to meet like a lot of the fans like face value. But really what like made my heart melt is like these little 5-year-old girls who were saying like, all you girls are like my inspiration. And like, I want to be a ninja when I grow up. And that like makes me want to cry. And I'm like, yeah. So it's in that sense, I'm really glad that, we focus on like, first woman on stage 1, and Jessie, she's like super strong. And, first woman up the wall kind of thing. But in the sense of like being in the community. And I also don't believe there should be a male course. Hands down. It should be the same course because we're all capable and sometimes we all have our different strengths. But in the sense of the ninja community, I think, it's a bummer that they hyper focus it on just like women accomplishments, like getting up the wall when you have like all these hundreds of other like guys who train too and like maybe, have a really good story or just have like a really big thing that they overcome, but really didn't have their story to share because a lot of the time is on airtime is taken up to focus on like the women. So it's like, there's a weird balance of it
Right.
There's pluses and minuses, but overall, I think it's a great thing that the show is really acknowledging. And also because the growth of the show for females, every single year, more females apply to the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's because they're like, heck yeah, we could do this. More women are like realizing that they're capable of doing these obstacles courses. And so they're applying, and I'm seeing a lot more strong women come out to the show.
Yeah. And that's been awesome. Yeah. I mean, I noticed that this year, it's like no other season before.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm blanking on the new one's name, but she was like, whoa,
Yeah, there's Barclay.
Yes.
Yeah. So we all knew Barclay is super strong. She just had a really like crappy season last year because that was a classic example where the obstacle just throws everyone out. And, production tries to they actually have a calculation, like a rhythmic calculation, how many competitors they want to come through. But that was just an unforeseeable one where it literally threw out every single female competitor. So that was a bummer. So this year in San Antonio, Barclay Stockett, she had the opportunity to really show her strengths, and she's going to be like a star for sure.
Yeah, she was amazing. I watched that episode. But it's funny, you made a great point that, I mean, one thing I like that they're doing is they're choosing the top 5 women, and not just, in that group. So at least we get to see women in the city finals.
Right.
Wouldn't have necessarily made it before.
Yeah, the new series rules.
Yeah. So, but the other thing is too that, you see these, like you come back from the break and it's like this guy made it to the and he gets to hit the thing and nobody even got to see him run at all. Exactly. But I guess, that's kind of, you can only fit so much into an hour.
Right.
Or 2 hours. And so, sometimes the guy doesn't get featured, but it's interesting that they've really flipped it. I think that there are so many women watching and so many young girls inspired.
Yeah.
How can you not feature more of that?
I know.
Especially with Wonder Woman out. And
I know. Yeah.
It's like, I think it's smart of them, coming from that production standpoint. But, you weren't, it's funny because your background is like not Ninja Warrior material. So tell us a little bit, like you went to college for what?
So I got my degree in neuroscience, which is interesting. It's like, actually, you know what? And my degree in neuroscience, and actually throughout college, my job was a YouTuber. I don't know if you guys like heard of like that. That's a thing. Yeah, that's a thing. Like I was.
I do know that.
Yeah.
You just threw some shade at us right there.
No, I don't know. People are like,
the YouTube.
I don't know. I say these things and people are like, I don't know what a vlogger is, and I'm like, oh, let me tell you, it's this beautiful world where people like, are just insane. So
I love your videos. I love your latest stuff in Japan, and
that was nuts.
And your adorable mom picking you up, and
Jackie stalks you.
I do the research. I'm just saying.
That's good.
But even our broadcast page, we subscribe to your before we had you scheduled. We subscribe to your YouTube page. Yeah,
perfect. Thanks for subscribing.
Hey, we're podcasters. I know we're older, but we get the whole new media stuff.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So it's like. So I grew that throughout college, and actually that's how I found out about Ninja Warrior, not personally, but I actually got casted and pulled from the casting producers because they saw my stuff. This was actually season 5 when they were actively changing the realm of the show for it to be like, find more women, find more strong women. So that's how I got pulled in. And then, but they would call me, they're like, hey, have you ever heard of American Ninja Warrior? I'm like, no. They're like, cool, it's this like obstacle TV show on NBC. I'm like, that sounds cool. And I'm like, but I don't do parkour. And they're like, it's okay, you'll have fun. So I went, and actually I went, it was just like a couple weeks before. So I had 0 like obstacle course training. I was just like a pro rock climber at the time. Went, got past the first obstacle, which was huge because everyone was tanking on that thing.
Oh, wow.
And then I fell on the second obstacle, which was like this, it was evil. It was this door frame, and you had to like get inside of it, and then it like slides. And when I fell on that, and I remember I took that failure as like, as a motivation, because I got really psyched. I was like, you know what? This is actually like an amazing experience, but let me like train for it and come back when I feel ready. Because every year the producers will call me. They're like, you want to come back? You want to come back? And I was like, nah, it doesn't feel right. So when I just was subtly training more and more for Ninja, where my training became like, you know, at that time, you know, like 80% climbing, then like a little bit baby, like Ninja Warrior. But as the years passed, 4 years later, I decided to come back and like make a comeback. And then it was Los Angeles qualifiers where I made it to the warped wall. Couldn't get up the warped wall, but made it to the warped wall. And then I was one of, it was the first time ever 2 females legitimately qualified for city finals, which was me and Jessie Graff, which was
right.
That's awesome.
Why do you say legitimately? Like, what does that mean? As opposed to just being picked because you're a female?
Exactly. Okay. So like that was the last year season 8 was when there was no special. Like females were only picked as wild cards to Vegas, but going to city qualifiers to city finals, you had to qualify your time within the pool of everyone, you know, men and women. So you know, I was 17 out of like 120 people, which was dope. So that was exciting.
That's awesome. So tell us the difference between, I act like we don't know the difference, but maybe some of our listeners and viewers don't, but the difference between Ninja Warrior that everybody sees on NBC and then Team Ninja.
Oh, yes. My favorite. Team Ninja Warrior is the funnest thing. I hope it gets renewed every single year. If you ask any ninja who's been on team, they will vouch that is the funnest like show to ever like do. And we also think it's like way more fun to watch. So the difference between Team Ninja Warrior and American Ninja Warrior, on American Ninja Warrior, they take like the all-stars and then they kind of smash it and we all go head to head. So it's like 2 guys, 1 girl, and then it's a head-to-head race. And it's like total different game, completely different game mindset and vibe when you're doing Team Ninja Warrior, because you've got like someone next to you and you're like, and then so like when you're running, you just feel like their energy and you push yourself so much more when you're on like a relay race kind of thing, which is kind of why I think it led to, so like I broke my foot. It's fine now, but I broke my foot and it finally aired on television this past Tuesday. And, you know, partially I think reason why is that, like I told you, in American Ninja Warrior, we're very methodical, too much methodical and overly thinking things. And on Team Ninja Warrior, it's just animalistic. We're like, go, just do it. So like on Team Ninja Warrior, I'm just like blowing through the course, and like sometimes, a lot of the time, safety and just kind of goes out the window because you're just pushing yourself to your ultimate limits. And that's kind of what the fall of my demise, literally.
Well, it's interesting you said that. I was reading an article that there was some criticism that people feel that American Ninja Warrior or Team Ninja is not safe and that there's too many injuries that happen. And it is, do you worry about that? I mean, do they, without having to tell secrets and production secrets, do they have someone that goes through the race and measures it for safety precaution? And I mean, I know there's some things you can't help. I mean, I fall downstairs and trip on my own shoes, but like, is there something to be said for this race causing people injury?
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination. It's the elements of us, like, you know, ultimately our responsibility of our injuries is our own self. Like, we push ourselves to the limits, but also it's a responsibility of production and to be responsible and like create an environment that's safe for us, because they know who we are. They know what we're capable of. Right. So, you know, like, let's make it safe. So it's like the combination of the rigging team, the ATS, and like the production team have to communicate, and they do test the course before us ninjas get on it, which is why like sometimes it's cool to be a tester, because they have people, other ninjas or like locals, and come and run the course. And they alter the course accordingly to like what they see. So it's like, you know, maybe we got to extend the padding at that section, or maybe we make it lower, maybe we make it harder. So it's like a combination of the two. We're all when it's the injuries, it come down to it, we're all responsible, like what happens. But you know, as an athlete in that moment, we're not thinking straight. So we're just going to push it to the limit. So hopefully
that's like any athlete
catch us. Yeah.
You know, that, I mean, I don't know that course is any worse than...
but there was criticism. Remember Fear Factor a long time ago, there was criticism that there were things that they were doing that were putting people's health at risk because they were making them eat like bull's balls. And like, there were things that at some point, if you keep increasing...
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Bull's balls. But no, I mean, and I'm not criticizing. I mean, it's the same thing with the weight loss shows. I mean, there's some criticism.
Well, that's different, I think. But go ahead.
But across all of these platforms, if the networks are pushing higher and higher and higher because it's increasing the advertising and the draw, that at some point, do they sacrifice safety because the viewership is increased and the ratings are higher? And I'm just, I would say that with any look at Bachelor and Bachelorette, and there's a whole no, but
it's much more dangerous to go on The Bachelor.
I completely agree. It's 100%.
I mean that there's criticism that the producers are always infusing alcohol into a situation. Then there's a girl that accused someone of sexual.
Right.
I mean, at some point,
totally.
You have to measure the safety of your participants against the ratings of the show, and that's what I'm.
But I will say that it's like, you know, in comparison to a lot of the other reality shows, like, you know, we have a lot of say on what happens. Like, even in interviews and how they do our storylines, like producers like try to feed us some stuff that they want to, like, you know, like egg us against each other, but like we could say no, you know what I mean? So also we get to view the course before we do it. We don't get to touch it. Sometimes in Team Ninja Warrior, we actually, you know, we get to like try some of the obstacles that kind of make us wary a little bit, like the balance ones. But the producers are really, which is why I also love this show. It's a reality show, but also we get to like have a voice to a certain extent. You know what I mean? So like we get a before we do the actual run throughs, we get to go through each obstacle. They tell us the rules, and someone actually does it. And if we have a reason for concern, you know, we could flag, it's all recorded too. We flag our concern, and then they respond. And then, you know, according like responses is taken.
That's great. I mean, and that's really good to know, because I think that there are a lot of, first of all, you guys are athletes. So you know what you're capable of and what is safe, and like, you can look at things in a different way. I think when you have a lot of reality stars and reality shows, they're just people who go on and then they drink alcohol and then they're, you know, so I don't think that people understand, you know, coming from that unscripted background myself, like people don't understand that they try to get you to say certain things, like, and that it's not always natural for some. And I think it's funny this year that everybody's a whatever ninja, like they're branding all the people. Yeah. Like that. You know, like, I thought about that. We don't have something for you.
I was like, I don't have it. It's like, I don't have a catchy name. I'm just Ninja Natalie, I had actually a good discussion about this too, because one of the other ninja girls, you know, her name was like Rookie Ninja for her first season. But after the first season, you can't be a rookie. So she had this like she asked like on her Facebook, you know, what should I be called? And I told her, I was like, you know, don't focus, because she was like stressing out about her name, like what to put on the t-shirt. But I was like, you know, don't focus too much on what you could be called by just performing better and being known by just your name instead of like a gimmicky name. I think to me personally is way more fulfilling than being known as like something that's super gimmicky.
Right. But that's where reality TV comes in, because it's like, if you're not, you know, you've been on for a while, you're a recognizable face. Like if you're one of the newbies and you're like, I want to be in the, you know, the in crowd, then, you know, I want to come up with something, and you kind of have to do that now just to stand out. And so all of a sudden I was like, wait, what did they just call that? Like, it's practically, I mean, some of the things are so like forced sometimes, like some of these names, because they don't feel as authentic or as organic, you know, to just kind of slap on a label to somebody as opposed to just let them be themselves.
But I will say with the labels, it's like literally all the labels, majority of them are created like by the ninjas themselves. They're not really kind of like labeled by the producers. So, I mean, as like cheesy as it is, but it works, you know what I mean? Like sometimes if there's a rookie and on TV and you talk about it the day after, they're like, oh, like the mailman ninja. I don't know his name, but like the mailman ninja. Right. So like you remember them, you know? Yeah. It's an easy story to remember.
That's true. You know, and my daughter is 10 and she is like buff. I mean, she is so strong and able to do so much, but she will go, like, you know, we'll turn it on and she's like, oh, that was the man who was abused, you know, and she'll remember, and she's like, he doesn't wear a mask anymore. Oh, and, and she'll, you know, she's invested in the stories, and I really I kind of love that.
Yeah. Oh my God. Kids have the greatest memory, and it's like terrifying. I swear, because I remember I do this thing in Muscle Beach in Santa Monica every day for sunset, kind of like a meditation thing. But it's like I climb like this 30-foot rope, and then I hang out on the structure on top of it. And then I'm like hanging out. And then I hear this little voice, and they're like, "You're Natalie Duran for American Ninja Warrior season 5, season 8." I'm like, "Oh my God, how do you know I'm like up here? And how do you know all my statistics?" And like kids, biggest fans of the show, they think the demographics are like young adults. I'm like, nah, it's like the kids, because they remember all of us.
They do, and they're invested. You know, they really care about what's going on, and you know, now they want to go to Connecticut to see Drew's new gym, and you know, it's kind of funny. So let's go back a little bit. So neuroscience. So do you still work? You have or had a job at UCLA?
So yeah, I after I graduated, I got an internship at UCLA, and then I showed my merit really well, and then I actually just got hired on staff as a clinical researcher with butt stuff. So it was inflammatory bowel diseases. It's weird that I like got my degree in here and then I worked my way down. Yeah, so I did clinical research in inflammatory bowel diseases. Which is this chronic disease. It's not really curable right now. But so like, I'm the kind of person that goes in the colonoscopy room. We like take chunks of people's like colons and I put it in things and then like process it. And then I also like written papers that I presented like internationally. I did that for like 3 or 4 years and it was great. But like, unfortunately, in January funding ran out. And so they eliminated kind of like a lot of the people in our research department. Which I was bummed about, but I also felt like it was like a right timing and like this chapter in my life that I like satisfied my parents. Like I did it, I did something, you know, like in realms of being a doctor. But then it was good timing because I still had this like passion where like I have this personality that I'm like really nonstop and I just like to share stories and like my life with everyone. So you know, at that time, then I became like a full-time ninja. You know, I've been traveling with the show like ever since after my qualifying run and finals run in LA in February. So I've just been traveling to like Denver, Cleveland, Kansas City. It's been super amazing because I've never traveled. I traveled to Europe a lot, but I've never traveled like America, you know, like America, because I never really had a desire to. But now traveling with the show, I got to be able to like experience all these different areas and meet all these different people. And it's been really cool.
Right. Go ahead.
How do your parents respond then to the fact that you're like, I mean,
you're a TV personality now.
Yeah.
They're surprisingly, they're psyched. Like, it's pretty cool. It's like my mom is so excited now because like, it's funny because now whenever like, we meet new people, she's like, "This is my daughter. She's a ninja." Like before she says my name or anything like that, she just like always mentions that like I'm a ninja warrior. And then like, it's really cute because I have a niece and she's like 3-4 years old now. And then my sister always tells me, she's like, when I'm on the phone, or she's always says, "Where's Auntie on TV? I see her on TV." She's like, "I want to be like Auntie and climb things." I'm like, "Yeah, I will." That's
awesome. Inspiring girls everywhere. So, all right. So before we go, like, you got to give us some secrets. Like, who are your people on Ninja Warrior?
Oh my people.
Who's your tribe?
The tribe is strong. But so like in Los Angeles, we actually don't have like a lot of ninja specific gyms. So like my tribe is like our guy Arnold Hernandez, because he builds the course in his backyard, which is like, it's kind of sketchy, but it's like the only thing that we have, and it's legitimate. You know, we get a lot of good training in there. And then my girl
he does the kid classes on Sundays too.
Class. Totally. Yeah. He's a great guy who builds the community.
I'm not stalking, I swear.
I mean, you know your information. So, and then also Jessie Graff too, which is, we feed really well off of each other because we totally have different strengths. Like she's working on her climbing and her upper body strength, and I like got that on lockdown. But everything else she's like amazing at, you know, like trams, body awareness, like just. So it's cool training with Jessie because, you know, we kind of feed off each other's strengths and weaknesses, and it's really cool with that.
Yeah, we had Jessie in the studio last summer, and it's funny because it was right after, you know, she had broken all the barriers and you know, hit the warped wall in the finals.
Yeah.
And, you know, even since then, I think just in the past year, the the women in Ninja Warrior are getting so much more attention.
Ooh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that was the beginning of a really great shift in television to empower women. I think
Totally.
Wonder Woman, I think the movie helps too.
Well, we talk a lot about how on our show that how women are not always very supportive of each other because there's a lot of competition or insecurity. Right. But I don't, and again, I only know what we see on television, but I see that there's such camaraderie between
100%.
And you guys 100%. And I know, and you know, I'm assuming it's for television, but I'm also getting the feeling that it's like that off air too. So to see that is really encouraging because as you get older, it wanes a little bit. It shifts. It goes through shifts. I've found that as I've gotten older, that certain periods of my life, women are very encouraging. Other times we're very catty. We cut each other down.
Yeah.
It's like this shift again now that I feel like I'm a little bit of a veteran and I can share my wisdom to other women because I'm confident with where I'm at. So do you find that within your group that anywhere you go that the women just kind of stick together?
This is also why I love being in this ninja community because not even women and people like our crew, some of the guys work with like, you know, NFL and basketball, and they're saying like, I've never seen such strong camaraderie in like an organized sport ever compared to ninja. Like, and especially with the females, you know, it's a competition show. We're all competing against one prize, but it's very unique because we all train together and we see each other all the time. And we want each other to do like well and better because we know each other's strengths and weaknesses. But it's a good point because what we see on TV is that like, you know, the females are cheering each other on. Like when we know a female's coming up and behind the scenes, like we're all in the ninja holding area. We have like a list of names who's going out of like the 120 people. Mm-hmm. But when we know, like when Barclay's coming, we're like, Barclay's on in like 5. We all run over to like, you know, the front side to cheer her on. And so it's like, no matter how like no matter who of a woman or it's like something like that, we all like want to see each other do so well, and that's why I love the sport so much.
And how do you keep, you know, because it is a competition and you do want to win, you know, how do you keep that from creeping up and not kind of comparing your success, or someone does something that you've struggled with and, you know, like how do you keep yourself from not letting that kind of overshadow
inside of you?
Tanya Harding.
Trust me, it eats you. It eats your soul like inside out. Like the days and like weeks after that, like I always have like good dreams and nightmares of like the mistakes I've made because like I said, we know we're capable of doing all of these obstacles. It's just sticking it together is like the issue. So it's like, trust me. It's like for me personally, I like to set like a goal, like, you know, it's usually like the one obstacle that freaks me out. And then like, that's my goal that I want to achieve is like, just get past that obstacle.
Right.
But it never goes the way we expect it. So it's like with failure, you have to take that failure and use it to motivate you to like train harder and like work on your weaknesses. Because with all of this, we all come in at, you know, it's changing, but for the most part, when we come into Ninja Warrior, a lot of us have a very special sport that we're like pro at. So it's like taking that failure to focus on what we need to work on versus like what we're already strong at.
So for some of our younger listeners who are listening and love the show, any inspirational tips that you can give them as to how to get past that first roadblock of just getting on the rock wall or getting on the balance beam or something? Do you have anything that you can tell them if they're just feeling stuck that they can't get motivated to start?
Oh, totally. It's like, I tell all the kids, like, you know, especially the girls, I was like, keep going to show the boys what's up. You know what I mean? And they're like, yeah, I'm stronger than my brother. I'm like, yeah, I get it. But it's like, for kids in general, I like to tell them, you know, like, don't grow up. Like, don't be afraid to like stay like just always adventure, always play. Which is what I feel like why I love this community of the ninjas is that we're always exploring and playing and like, you know, using our environment to our advantage and like jumping over and things and stuff like that. And like, even for kids versus adults, I feel like it's an advice that I can always give is that like, find something that makes you excited. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or, you know, do something with a friend. If people are, because getting into sports it's a social thing. So it's like, if you have social anxiety, doing something new for the first time, it's like terrifying. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like do like a group lesson first. And then afterwards, once you get like the groove of everything, that's when you yourself personally work on those like small things and improve on yourself.
Right. I love too that you've kind of, you know, I can only take my daughter as an example. So she climbs and jumps and, you know, everything that makes a mother gray.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and get the wrinkle there.
Yeah.
And it used to be like, get down, get down, get down, get down. And now I'm like,
go higher, go
yeah,
higher.
like,
yeah.
all you got, girl? You know,
which I'm psyched about. Yeah. It's because when I was a kid, my mom always told me to get off the apple tree and climbing. But like when I became an adult, I found climbing and I'm like, I could do this. Why didn't I have this as a kid? So I'm like, some more moms, I'm like, you know, let them explore their boundaries, you know, and that's why I bring them to the climbing gym, because it's a safe environment, but it's like they could totally push themselves. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And I love that. And I love that even like the local gymnastics place has a parkour class.
Yeah.
You know, and just to kind of the awareness of like what your body can do. I really wish that existed when we were I think that, you know, 20 years ago, I would have gotten, maybe I will now at 46, I'll just get into parkour. But yeah, here we go. I'll be on Ninja Warrior next year.
Done. Set.
So how difficult, before we let you go, how difficult is it, you know, people don't understand unscripted television. Like you shoot a lot sooner, but then, you know, I mean, you're already done. The finals are done, right?
Yes. The finals are done. Yeah.
So we already know how it ends. Well, you already know how it ends and all that. And so how hard is it to keep all of that quiet, like for the next few months?
So hard. Because it's like you see people back at home and they're like, oh, how was it? And then I'm like, and then you start talking about it. You're like, and I gotta be quiet, because we forget that we have like a contract that's like a Bible thick.
Yeah.
They're like, we will sue you for thousands of millions of dollars if you. So it's like, what do I say? I was like, when is the air date? Just tell them the air date, and then that's it.
Right. And that's got to be hard, because I think, you know, that same thing with like The Bachelor. People are like, they see them after the rose or what. I don't watch The Bachelor, you do, but they see them after the rose and they're like, oh, you know, they're just getting started. And it's like, no, they've known each other. They've already broken up.
Yeah.
By the time it airs,
in the relationship by the time like that episode airs, totally.
But I will say congratulations for actually beating The Bachelorette in ratings.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That is like really is.
I watched The Bachelorette too. It's one of those guilty pleasures that is people watch. But yeah, it's like that's what I'll say. I was like, finally, America realizes, you know, it's a great show to watch. It's inspirational, and I think that's why production did a great job in promoting it. It's like I watched those promo. Like I was happy to be in the promo. I'm like, damn, I want to cry watching these promotions. It's like super inspirational, and it's like, you know, finally we're catching up to you know, good quality reality television is inspiring instead of it just being like mindless drama. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, I think that's the message that people take away, and why it continues is that you tell such great stories of where people have come from, and it's relatable, so that anybody sitting at home or on their couch watching go, oh, I can do that. And I may not get to the level that you've gotten, but I can get off the couch and I can start fresh and I can make today a better day than yesterday. I can do something.
Right.
Totally. And you're absolutely right, Kim, in that if you can inspire people to just do more or take that step, I think I hope that that's the shift in what our unscripted reality TV looks like.
Right. Totally.
So, well, thank you so much for joining us. And
yay! Thanks you guys for.
You're the coolest, and everybody can follow you and subscribe to you on YouTube at.
What's your
YouTube is the complicated one. It's one of those you can't change the names once you get it. So my YouTube is at ND Titan Lady. And then, my Instagram is easier. I changed that one too. So it's ninja_Natalie. So those are my socials.
And we'll make sure that we put that on our page too for people to find you. And we'll be cheering you on, even though we know it's done, but we'll be cheering you on for the process.
Yeah. So my next episode, Team Ninja, we had the finale air this past Tuesday, but my next upcoming episode will be on Los Angeles finals.
Yes. I can't wait to see that one.
That's going to be good.
Awesome.
Good luck to you.
Thanks, Natalie.
Have
a great photo shoot today.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'll sign it off with a flex. There it is. Hey!
Thanks, Natalie.
See you later.
Have a great day.
Thanks.